Welcome to the Vector Garden. In this tutorial we are going to build this kind of design. And there are two answers to this. Now what makes this design is that those circles do not overlap, they just touch each other. And I want to make this with a graphic style, so we need to build this, but then we can only have overlapping circles, because in graphic styles, in appearances, you have no influence on whether they overlap or not. But we are also going to build this like in here so that the circles do not overlap. But that is not a live effect. Okay. Let's go to a new file, and in order to build this using a graphic style, we first need a brush. So we just need a circle, and I'm going to paint that black, and then let's go into the brushes panel, drag this in here, build a scatter brush like so, and then let's first set all of this to random. Of course, not the rotation because it's a circle, so it doesn't matter. And also the rotation doesn't matter, but we need tints. So the size can be smaller and it can be larger. And then we have that spacing, which also can have some randomization, and the scatter as well, but not that much, like so. And also, this is just an initial setup, so we're going to change those because we need different settings on those brushes. Like this. Okay, now we need a circle, like that. And I'm going to switch fill and stroke, and then set this to, let's take blue, and I'm just going to set up those colors so that we can tell the different strokes apart, just like that. And now we need the appearance panel, like this. We also need the layers, they are already here, like that. So now let's apply that brush, like this. Now that's already quite nice, but they are just too dense. So for the first one, we need a less density. And in order to get that, so I just want one brush for all of this, but I still want to change the settings, and you do this like in here. So you select the stroke, and then you click this button to change the stroke options just for that stroke. So the size should be a little larger. Let's turn on the preview, and the spacing should be a little larger. So like that, and also more apart, like this. That's nice. And then they should be a little larger, like this. And the scattering is okay, I think. We can leave it like that. Okay. So what I now want is smaller circles surrounding these. And for that, we need to outline that stroke. But of course, not in reality. We just tell Illustrator to treat it as outline by going to Effect, Path, Outline Stroke. It's been applied like that. So now in order to build on that, we need another layer. So we could also use groups, but I do not like groups for that a lot. So let's do it with layers. Let's put that layer into that one. And then let's target that layer, apply a stroke to it. And then we can select this stroke and again apply the scatter brush to it. Let's set this to red so we can tell them apart. And now we need to set up that again. So now it should be smaller. Let's turn on the preview. That's nice. And the scattering, let's move them a little more to the outside so that they do not overlap too much, actually. So let's see, like this, and maybe a little more spacing, just like that, and slightly smaller size, and maybe not too much of the scattering, like this. So maybe like that. Okay. So again, we need to outline that like this. And then we need another layer and move this inside. Target the layer, apply a new stroke like this. Let's make that green. And again, apply that brush. And again, change that, make it smaller, turn on the preview, and you see where we are going. So let's make that a little smaller, like this, so that we get this. Now, what we can do in order to hide all of this that overlaps this, we can drag this below the contents, just like that. And we can do the same on this one. Just drag it below the contents so that we get this. But as you see, they will overlap. So the dots we have will always overlap. But we can go on and on and on so that there will be more and more of these dots. Okay. Let's get to the other method. And for that, I have this one here, and because it's on the same layer, it already has that appearance. So let's make a new layer and then move that here like this. So that is something that I have drawn using the pencil tool. But it doesn't matter which tool you use. And now, in order to fill that with circles that do not overlap, there is a script to do that, which is the Fillinger script by Alexander Ladigan. I will put a link into the description of the video, but I'm not using that. I'm using Circle Fill by Youngware, and that was something that I could set up easier. So in order to do that with Fillinger, you maybe have to fiddle with the settings, but let's just use Circle Fill. And let's go to Scripts, Other Script, and I've put it here. So there's Circle Fill, just like this. And then we have to set up this, the largest and the smallest, same with Fillinger. And the difference with Fillinger is you have to actually create a circle in order to tell it which shape use to fill this other shape, and then you can start it, but Circle Fill just uses circles for filling. So there it is. Let's move that apart, and there you see we have all these circles. I can select all of them, and then let's apply a different color to them, like this. And then we have this circle made of circles.